All right. What's your name?
My name is Stephen Hudson. I've worked at the Copper Queen Hotel about 4 years. My job position would be night audit or front desk night shift. I would say that I'm not really a skeptic or a believer, just kind of in between. You know, I've seen things, I've heard things, but I can't necessarily say that it's a ghost or paranormal. I was in the back office, and I thought I heard out here in the front lobby my first, middle, and last name. And it was, nobody would really even know my last name, let alone my middle name. I'm only working here a week. Personally, for me, it's the dining room. I leave the lights out in there, even when I go in there to grab a soda or something. Or we clock in there as well. I don't bother to turn the lights on because I'm in there for 60 seconds and I'm out. And that's where I normally see or hear most stuff. But I also spend a lot of time down here in the front lobby. I have heard people walking upstairs, and I'll go, it's 3 in the morning. You don't really expect someone to be walking around a hotel at 3 in the morning. I go up and do my rounds, just to double check, make sure, nothing weird's going on, and there's nobody there. Come back down, and all of a sudden I hear people walking again upstairs. The Julia Lowell room, which has been on a couple different shows. I don't know if you guys mind me mentioning the other shows, or it's been featured on Ghost Hunters. I'm pretty sure they did a thing on it for, I think, the next season of Ghost Adventures. That room gets a lot of reports of activity. Julia Lowell was a prostitute that lived here in the hotel in the 20s. Her father owned the hotel. He was a local businessman. There's actually a part of town named after him. Lowell is a part of town, section of town. Bisbee split up into different, I guess you call them districts. Warren, Lowell, the San Jose area, and here's the old Bisbee. But he didn't like his daughter's clientele walking up the front door of his place of business. So he built her a walkway up to the 3rd floor where her room was, right next to that door, right next to that entrance. And the guests would come around the backside of the hotel and meet her there. She actually fell in love. This is, as far as the story goes, she fell in love with one of her clients. I guess in matters of sex, and it's hard to keep the heart out of that. Well, he did not reciprocate those feelings, didn't want to have a relationship, and it was more than she could handle, and she did commit suicide somewhere here in the hotel. Billy, the story of Billy is probably, to me, one of our sadder ghost stories. As the story goes, from what I've heard, Billy was a child of 8 or 9 years old who had a family member who worked here or lived here in the hotel. We don't know for sure. We think that they worked here at the hotel. And as the story has been told to me, he died in the San Pedro River, which is just a few miles from here. It's maybe a 5-10 minute drive. And 8 or 9 year old kid dies. The people believe that his ghost traveled back here looking for his family. Now, while that's a very sad story to me, he's also one of our most fun ghosts. He likes to play jokes. He likes to, you'll leave change or little knickknacks out on the nightstand at night, and they'll be moved to the other nightstand in the morning. Or they'll be rearranged. I've heard reports of people hearing him laughing in the hotel, hearing a little boy laughing, but they couldn't find anything. They never saw him, but they heard him laughing. We've had people claiming to see a man that wears a top hat, smelling cigar smoke. When I've walked through the dining room, I've kind of felt like, or maybe seen a shadow of a man just sitting in the back corner. If you go in there later, the far back corner, it's pretty dark, and I can't, say that there's actually something there, but I've maybe more felt like something's there than, actually seen it or heard it. To me, the impression that I get is just a man sitting there smoking a cigar, having a drink. This is probably one of the oldest buildings in town. It is the oldest continuously running hotel. Construction started on the building in 1897. The doors opened in 1902 for business. And we have been open for business since then. Under different ownership, under different, but it's always been the Copper Queen Hotel. Open for business every day, 365 days a year since 1902. That's 100 years of history and experiences. People talk about the Old West, and I'm not sure I haven't actually done the research to put what dates are considered the Old West, but this town was a mining town all the way up through the 70s. And being in southeast Arizona, we're not a big city. At one time, we did have the highest population between Kansas City and San Francisco around the turn of the century. Even higher than Denver, even higher because of the mine here, the mines in Tombstone all around the area. So a lot of people have come and gone and passed through these doors. We can confirm, we have documentation that John Wayne stayed here and was a guest here. Now, John Wayne's not haunting our hotel. We do have a John Wayne themed room, but only because he stayed here and was part of the history of the hotel. These stories add up. The history builds on itself. And who's to say that some of that history hasn't stuck around? If I don't necessarily believe that it's ghosts. Because it is such an old building, when our ghost hunt comes through and when the other groups have come through and use their EMF detectors, it's a 100-year-old building. The wiring that was put in this place originally is unshielded. It doesn't have, if you look at your walls at home, you're going to see pretty well plastic around your wiring to keep your house protected. Well, we've got copper and brass wiring that is just copper and brass. If you touch it, you're going to get electrocuted. When the guys actually have to work on it, they wear pretty heavy gloves just so they don't, even if they've shut off the area, shut off the power to that area, a lot of it may be on a whole different circuit that you didn't know about, so they wear pretty heavy gloves so they don't get electrocuted. So when you walk by with an EMF detector and it jumps up, you may just be getting that energy that's just siphoning out that can't be shielded away. Now, again, I can't prove that it's that because I don't have the know-how or the equipment myself to do it. But with so many people that have passed through these doors and visited our hotel, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of what is experienced here is real.